Hey there my foodies, welcome back to the channel. Join me in the kitchen today to make this delicious chicken pastay. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button below, give the video a like, subscribe to my channel and share with your family and friends. For my chicken pastay, I'm going to start with my chicken filling first. Here I have some boiling water. I'm going to go ahead with some green seasoning, a large bay leaf and a few cloves. After that, I will add my chicken breast. I just took 2 large chicken breasts, cleaned it, washed it, and I chopped it up into big chunks to steam so that it can cook faster. I'll allow this to steam for about 12 to 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long, but I want to make sure that I have the chicken fully cooked through. This is my chicken pieces all done. It's fully cooked. I'm going to go ahead and drain this and allow it to cool down a little bit so I can go ahead and start stripping it. As my chicken is cooling down, I'm going to go ahead and start my crust. Here I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going in with 2 teaspoons of white sugar, half a teaspoon salt, and I'm going to mix that in. Also, I'm going to go in with a 1/4 cup of cold butter that I diced up. I'm taking my hands and going in a squeezing motion so that I can work this butter into the flour. You do not want to go ahead and knead this. You're going to ruin your crust. Just go ahead and squeeze it like I am doing this when you try this recipe, and it all should come together. I'm also going in with a 1/4 cup of shortening here, and I'm going to use that same motion to have this work into my flour. After working in my butter, salt, sugar, and shortening, this is what my flour is looking like. I'm going to gradually go in with 3/4 cups of ice cold water and start to squeeze my flour into that liquid. I don't want to knead this. Like I said before, you're going to ruin the texture of your flour. Here is what it should be looking like when it's starting to come together. I'm just going to continue to press and squeeze until everything forms one solid piece of dough. After using that squeezing and pushing method, this is what your dough should look like. I'm just going to go ahead and make it into a nice flat disc, and I'm going to wrap this in some cling wrap very tightly and place it in my refrigerator as I work on stripping my chicken. It's time to start shredding my chicken. You can do this in a food processor, but I like to do it by hand because I can control the size and the strips that I'm going to have. Here I'm just taking a piece, I split it into smaller pieces and I'm pulling it apart. This takes about 15 to 20 minutes. It does require some patience, but I prefer to do it this way because I find I get a better texture. But you can surely do this in the food processor. So this is what my chicken is looking like. As you can see, it's stripped up really nicely and loose. I'm going to go ahead and start frying this up now. To a hot pan, I'm going to go ahead and start frying up my chicken. I went ahead with some oil and I'm going to add some chopped wiri peppers to fry in the oil. I like to do this because it releases a nice flavor into that oil. Then I'm going to go in with my corn and some frozen carrots and peas and allow that to fry about 2 minutes so that it cannot be so raw in the filling. My vegetables is nice and fried out. This is where I'm going to go in with my stripped chicken and just give it a good mix. To season my chicken and vegetables, I'm going to go in with some black pepper, paprika, adobo, aji, sugar, salt, Chinese spice, garlic powder, onion powder. All of the measurements for the seasoning I'm using for this filling will be listed in the description box, and I'm going to include it at the end of the video. Do watch the video all the way to the end so you can see the measurements that I use and all the ingredients that I use for this recipe. After mixing in my dry seasonings, I'm going to go ahead and add some tomato paste. This is added to taste. You can add as much or as little as you like. And also, this filling can be done with beef as well. I just choose to do chicken because we can't eat beef. But feel free to make this with ground beef. After giving this a good mix, I'll allow this to fry for about 10 minutes so that everything can cook out and that seasoning is not tasting very raw. I'm going to take it off the stove now and allow it to cool down completely. As my chicken filling is cooling down, I'm going to go ahead and roll out my pastry dough. Here I have it out of the fridge. It's been sitting on the countertop for about 50 minutes. Look how good this is looking on the inside. Look at all of those layers from the shortening and butter. For my second half, I'm going to go ahead and wrap that back in a cling wrap so it doesn't dry out in the air. Here I'm just rolling out my first piece. This is the piece that I'm going to put at the bottom of my 9x12 Pyrex that I'm going to use to bake this pastay in. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out, and here I'm just showing you a little trick as to how you can move your pastry crust from one spot into what you want to bake it. I'm just rolling it very gently on my rolling pin, and I'll place it gently over my Pyrex dish and roll it out very carefully, trying not to break the crust. I'm going to go ahead there and start to mold my pie crust to my Pyrex. I just want to go ahead and gently adjust it and move it and bring it up to the side so that I can create a nice seal up against the side. This is what the pie crust is looking like molded into my Pyrex. My filling is nice and cool. I'm going to go ahead and scoop all of this out and create a nice even layer. Lastly, to my filling, I went ahead and boiled 2 eggs, and I'm just using the egg whites. I just sliced it up on top of there. Here I have my top layer of the chicken pastay that I already went ahead and rolled out, and I'm just repeating the same thing that I did before of rolling it onto the pin and then rolling it back onto the Pyrex dish. I'm going to go ahead and fit this on top and create a nice tight seal for it to bake really well. To finish off the chicken pastay for baking, I just have 1 egg that I'm going to beat really well. I'm going to go in with a brush and put a light layer of that egg wash on top. I don't want to put too much, just enough to create a nice crust on top and for browning in the oven. After that, I'm going to go in with a fork and poke some holes so that this does not swell up and crack. I didn't poke the holes earlier because I did not want that egg to get into my filling. So this is a good way to do it. Put your egg wash first and then create your holes. I'm going to go ahead and bake this in my oven at 350 for 45 minutes or until it's golden brown on top. Your oven may vary. Just check on it at least by the 35-minute mark, and then you can take it from there as to how brown you want it to get on top. This is what my finished chicken pasta is looking like. It baked up really nicely. I'm going to go ahead and slice a piece out of this so you guys can see what it looks like on the inside. This is a very easy alternative of making chicken patties. This is actually the way that Surinamese make their chicken patties. They do not do them individually. They do it like this. So if you don't want to do the individual patties, you can do it this way, and it's much easier and much quicker. Just look how nice and easy that knife went through that crust, and it's nice and flaky. I'm going to go ahead and take a scoop up and you'll see what it's looking like on the inside. This was absolutely delicious. Everyone loved this. We always like to have this around the holiday season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this recipe. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And of course, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed as yet. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.